What's up guys, it's Joseph and this is going to be a quick video on how to mount an Osight S onto a PSA Rock 5.7 mounted directly to the slide. Since the slide is Holosun 507 cut, this is a RMSE cut optic, so it fits perfectly on there, and then you can clear a suppressor with the center of the dot. My rock came just like this, but if yours came with the cover plate on it, you would just remove these screws using a T10. Your rock should come with longer mounting screws, this slip that says you must use these screws, a wrench, and let me show you why you have to use these screws. The mounting holes are very shallow, so if you see down at the bottom, that's actually the striker assembly housing. And I was lightly threading with the Osight screws, the short Osight screws, and you can see a little circular mark where it started to run into the housing. That's when I realized that you can't use the Osight screws. The depth of those holes is about 3 millimeters. On the right is the short Osight screw, and it's actually right at 3 millimeters. And then on the left is the screw that came with the rock. And it was like right about 2.8 millimeters, so it might have worked. I trimmed it down a little bit more, maybe a little bit too much. To trim it, all I did was hold it with some pliers and then use this spinning cutting wheel. So my mounting screws that came with the rock stick out about 2 millimeters. I would say 2.5 millimeters is perfect if you can do that. At the end of the video, I'll show how to remove the striker assembly if you want to mount the optic without that in there. That way you can look from the inside and verify that your screws are not sticking out too far. And at this point, you obviously want to verify that we're clear. So we're clear on this and we can start mounting. Ideally, you'll have a Torx screwdriver, and then in my case, I have this extended T10, affiliate link in the description if you want to check it out. But yeah, I can go ahead and start hand threading these screws into the slide. While the optic is fully seated, but the screws are just a little bit loose, so there's movement, I like to push the optic forward and then finish hand tightening the screws. I have my Wheeler fat wrench set at 15 inch-pounds, and now I'm just gonna turn until we get that click. I like to index the screw in the optic. I used a pencil on the optic and a silver metallic Sharpie on the screw head. Alright guys, that's it for mounting the Osight. For the rest of the video, I'll show how to remove the striker assembly in case you're concerned that the PSA screws are not short enough. So you would do all this before mounting the red dot. Verify empty pistol, pull the trigger, pull back the slide 1/4 inch, and then pull down on the slide lock tabs, and then let the slide go forward. So I didn't pull it back far enough the first time. Next, you remove the recoil spring, and then if your barrel has a thread protector or O-ring on it, you're going to remove that so you can remove the barrel. Back here we have a detent with a very strong spring behind it, so you're going to hold that down and hold your finger over it so it doesn't go flying. So now this can be released. So here is the spring that I was talking about. Now we just push the striker assembly to the rear. I'm going to take 2 punches on either side and just push. And I have my hand on the rear like this, so now I can catch it, and if I flip it this way, you'll see the firing pin safety that wants to come out, so we'll just put that aside now. And here is the striker assembly. So here's the striker, and this is 2 halves, so this just falls apart. Here you can see where my Osight screw was digging into the top of the striker assembly, right there. Let's just go ahead and separate it. So if you open it up, you can see the striker is just sitting in here. There are some tabs on it. So actually the tab is on the right side of the striker. So to put the striker back inside the housing, you would just put this tab in that slot and line up this curve with the curve at the bottom of the striker. So that's gonna sit right here, and that would slide like that. Now if you took your slide before mounting, you would see 2 holes because those mounting holes are drilled all the way through. In my case, you see my mounting screws. You can see that they are sitting about 1 millimeter below flush. I could have definitely left them about 0.5 millimeter longer, and also you can see they're below flush from this angle. Everything's looking good in here, so let's put it all back together. Like I showed earlier, take the half of the housing that has the slot in it, and then get your striker, line up that curve and the slot, Then you put the other half of the housing on there, so these little peg and holes will line up. So that goes like that. Now let's flip it this direction. And so this is the bottom. Pull this striker all the way to the back. Now we're going to take that safety that we took out earlier, and it has a little tab. So that tab is going to face the striker, and there is a little recess for the spring to sit on. So that's going to snap in there. You can see how flush that is. And now we can take the slide and just push it in. Press it in all the way. Alright, that's back in there. At this point, I'm going to use the flathead to help me tuck this detent underneath the back plate. So let me go ahead and just put it on top. So push the back plate over it, try and tuck it below. That's it. Now take your barrel, put it into the slide, put the recoil spring back in, and now you're going to line up these tabs back here with those slots over there. Even if you have to tilt the slide upward a little bit like that, and then you can see they're in the slot. Move the slide all the way forward, and then you should be able to push the slide down onto the frame. And at this point you just rack it back. Now we function test. All set. Alright guys, that's it for getting the Osight onto the rock. Any comments or questions, leave those down below. I'll have some affiliate links in the description if you want to check out some of the tools I used. And I definitely have some how-to and review videos coming up, so like, sub, and share, and I'll talk to you guys next time.